You're watching the 6th anniversary edition of The Tesla Life with your host, Mark Coughlan.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 6th anniversary edition of the Tesla Life, number 301, if we're going by the clock counter. And thank you, Patrick, for that fantastic intro.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is actually the 6th anniversary. I mean, it's not just within a couple days, but it was April 5th, 6 years ago. It's rare that the day of the week and the anniversary actually line up together.
Yep.
But it did this time. So that's really awesome. I wasn't here for that show. You guys had Dr. Evan Frisco in the third seat.
We gave you the wrong link, apparently. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, we've got a fantastic show for you tonight. We've got a ton of news, as usual. But let's first introduce our fellow hosts. Of course, we're always speaking with Patrick out of the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, thanks. It's always exciting to talk Tesla. Good times.
Absolutely, absolutely. And our other host, we have Mr. Casey Green joining us from the DC Soggy area. How are you today, sir?
Oh, this is the last day on this set.
Ah.
Our house has been vacated and cleaned. It was not clean.
There may be
Another
some
witness
disagreement
protection
there.
job, huh?
Define clean, Madam Cleaner. And so
Let's try it again.
we'll be slowly working our way back to. You got some of you guys may remember the bookshelf on the side. And, yes.
That's right. So witness protection program will be ending as Casey moves back home. So we certainly look forward to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look and see what's going on this week. Got a bunch of news as mentioned. Patrick's going to start us off this week with the 48-volt game changer.
That is right. So we've touched on this one before, and now there's some speculation that's going to be added that I thought was kind of fun. So Tesla is looking at a 48-volt electrical architecture for the CyberTruck. And why does that matter? Well, if you have 4 times the voltage, then you can have 1/4 the current. And current is what requires thick wires. Thick wiring adds weight, and weight reduces range. So if you want to be optimized,
cost, because copper is not cheap these days.
That's true too. Yes. So this is exactly what Tesla has talked about, right? They want to do things that improve the experience and decrease the cost, because any fool could do one or the other, but to do both, that's the hard part. So when you have something like a Cybertruck that could potentially have air compressors and winches and things like that have a significant load on them, if you can have 1/4 the current to get that job done, that matters. And who knows what else they're going to have. I know there's some people in the Cybertruck Owners Club that are talking about they want snow plows and they want other accessories and add-ons. And some of these things could use a significant amount of power. Well, if Tesla has a 48-volt system that can deliver that, then all these things can operate much better. So it was exciting, and I just wanted to cover that. Thanks.
It's kind of interesting that that there's not a lot of third-party suppliers that provide 48-volt equipment. So that's one of the things that they said as Tesla moves forward with this 48-volt architecture, which of course they're saying Cybertruck will be the first vehicle that they have that will use that. Going forward, all vehicles will do it, apparently, is what their plan is.
24-volt, like all the others?
Well, Semi's already been released, so it may...
But I mean, since they didn't call it out as a 48-volt architecture, does that mean it's 24 like all the other semis?
I don't know, to be honest.
So semis are not 12 like cars; they're 24, Casey.
Yes.
Interesting.
So it seems that every car they put out now, they'll just be doubling the voltage. So the next one will be the 96. And then
Oh no,
after
no,
that
that won't be that. There are limits to the gains. But the cool thing about this though is
1,048 volts. Let's do it.
256. Here we go.
You know what? We're just gonna run on raw main pack voltage here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
The a couple of the
Then they
other
can eliminate the DC to DC converter. Let's do it.
a couple of the legacies actually tried to go 48 volts a handful of times, and like if you listen to Sandy Monroe and a couple of the other engineers from the field, when they tried to get their companies to go 48 volts, the company said, okay, let's go, let's do a feasibility study, blah blah blah. All the suppliers keep dragging them back to 12 volts.
Yep.
Oh, the stuff is ready to go. If we do it your way, it's going to take 5 years, and like 5 years they should already be on the second version of this vehicle. So fine, we'll do 12 volts again. And
yeah, and that's the reason why Tesla is going to have to produce some of their own add-ons when the Cybertruck comes out initially, because the third-party manufacturers are going to be caught flat-footed. They've got 12-volt architecture, and that's all they've planned for. The first vehicle that's going to sell quite a bit of vehicles themselves, they're not going to be ready for it. So Tesla has said that they're going to have some accessories available, probably be a limited amount, but it'll be interesting to see how quickly the third-party market catches on and starts to produce 48-volt accessories for the Cybertruck and others.
Yeah, you can argue that that's just. Go ahead, Casey.
There's a little bit of it in the RV world, but I don't know how much of the RV components you'll need from like a travel trailer or motorhome on a Cybertruck. But the other thing that this will do here is one, if Matthew Donegan Ryan was right about Tesla starting their own accessories division because of the 48 volt situation. Not that they didn't have one before, but like they're getting serious on it, like rather than just a couple things here and there. The other thing is if this thing sells in the numbers that match the reservations, the rest of the industry is coming because
yes, exactly.
You've got the first party and third party. Not first party, but like the tier 1 and third party accessories will need to interface, and if it's at 48 volts, you plug in a 12 volt, it's going to fry. So.
Yeah, this is kind of a microcosm of Tesla doing EVs. Like all the legacy automakers said, no, it's not possible. There's no real market. Sure, we could do it, but it can never be profitable. And Tesla just went, we'll make it happen, and did it. And now they're going to do the same thing with 48 volt. They're going to be the trailblazers. They're going to make it happen. If they have to, they'll do things internally to create the market. And then once it's established, all the others can be fast followers. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see once the Cybertruck comes out later this year, what accessories Tesla is going to provide, and who's going to catch up the quickest.
Because what else this might do?
You know the Cybertruck being an ideal camping truck. That people are going to want camping accessories. That's going to be like number one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Especially since the truck's probably going to come out midsummer-ish. So
when you got the winch, the toast, the snowplow.
Yep. There's a lot of things that people will want right off the bat.
Yeah, and I think that if Tesla gets back into supplying components to other folks, like if they sell Autopilot FSD as a component, or if they start making subcomponents again for other manufacturers, they'll say, hey, this is what we have to offer. You're good 48 volts, or find another competent supplier, and it's not gonna. They're not gonna have a choice if they want to use the proven Tesla components.
Yeah, we've seen this with batteries. They enable their suppliers, and they don't lock them in to say you can only use this innovation with us.
Right. And then like the 2170s, nobody in the industry was using that. Like they barely got on to 18650s before Tesla went to 2170s. And now they're doing 4680s. So is the rest of the industry, but they're adding that extra zero at the end because tradition. We're using 21700s.
Right.
I mean, I don't remember why, but I read it and it made halfway sense. But like, come on, drop that extra zero.
Yeah, for the prismatic batteries, there's 3 dimensions, and so for cylindrical, the third one is 0 to say it's a cylinder. I think is where that came from, but it's not needed.
Yeah,
not necessary.
Well, that's interesting to see. Another innovation, which I have to say, we called this 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. Tesla has now
All that called for it.
we asked, we said it should be coming, right?
Yeah.
Tesla has indicated that they're updating the Tesla app, the mobile app, in order to provide some additional navigation features. So they're starting with just the route planner, where you'll be able to see the multiple stops you're doing on your trip, and a few in a row. So just on the app, you'll be able to see your route, and not just the stop you're close to or going to next, but the one after that. So there's a few navigational things that they're starting to put into the app, and I think this is just the beginning. Okay, I'm gonna double down on our bet and say that they're gonna go all out on navigation in the app. It's going to be a complete ability to plan your entire trip, to upload it to the car if you wish, or press a button and it would just be pushed into the car. And you'll be able to see all the information that you currently can see in the car right on the mobile app. So maybe someone in the back seat could be using the app just to check on what's the next stop, what's to eat at those stops, what's some points of interest. Those type of things, I think, will come eventually. They'll all come to the app. So
there's two other really good use cases for this as well. One, as we keep talking about folks who are using superchargers but not using Teslas. And
Right.
ModelNext, if they choose not to put any screen into it, they're going to tell you to slap your phone up on the dash, right?
That's
a navigation solution.
Yeah,
that's an
if you want to
interesting.
make it highly affordable. Although the screens are so Tesla signature, I would be shocked
They are.
if they didn't have one. But
But
yeah,
you could save them $200 a car easy, though.
Yeah, or they could have that as an upgrade if you want.
Right,
Consider your premium screen package.
But if you get the base model rear-wheel drive small battery, you got to supply your own phone because everybody's got a phone. I can see Elon, like, the best part is no part, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's interesting. Never would have thought of that. That they would yank a screen. Hopefully,
But yanked everything else.
Hopefully, they give you the ability to put in whatever screen you want. So if you want a bigger screen, you can put in an iPad, plop right in place.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Take that 18.5-inch Cybertruck. I've got a Samsung 20-inch tablet.
I put in a 40-inch TV in my spot.
You better hope it has FSD at that time.
Right.
And somehow the airbags still
HDMI
work.
port to get it working. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they already have an HDMI port on the hardware 2.5 to 4.0.
Yeah. Some of the Tesla tubers are using that to capture the screen data so they can import it into their videos nice and clean.
We said we could do that.
So that's great news, and hopefully it will continue. They'll keep adding to it. I think they will. But it just makes sense, especially Casey's one addition, which of course is the people that aren't driving a Tesla. That's going to be a big plus to be able to use the navigation system, and of course that's going to help Tesla in the end anyways, because it's going to show them how easy it is to be inside the Tesla network, and how their next car probably should be a Tesla. I think it's going to help them out immensely.
Yeah, I was talking with some family, and they were ready to change their cars, and they just weren't feeling a new Tesla, and they didn't want to do a used Tesla because the prices were crazy back when they were looking. And they told me, they said, we looked at the Mercedes, we looked at the Lucid, we looked at the Rivian, looked at everything on the market, and nothing was really that good of a fit, except for, if you could stomach the price, the Mercedes and the Lucid. And they said, well, if I'm going to spend that money, I might as well get the Tesla. But what stopped them from getting any EV at that time was that, one, they mostly drive local, so just like Patrick does, hang out of the car for 10 years if possible. They're at the end of the 10 years, but they're like, well, let's just hang on a little more and see what comes out next. But what really stopped them from jumping to another brand was that everywhere they looked, it said that your experience is going to be a mixed bag if you do decide to not fly and not have a Tesla. And I said, well, right now they got the Magic Dock. It's not everywhere, but by the time you're back in the market for another car after that last major repair you did to the existing car, now you'll have even more options. Not just whatever next Tesla's come out, the CyberTruck and ModelNext, but also everything else that comes out. And now you don't have to feel like, oh man, I got to do Electrify America or the other providers and hope they're working and hope I don't have that experience I've been reading about. But a step up from just being compatible is just have the exact same experience as the Tesla. Obviously, with the higher price if you don't do the monthly membership, but where it routes you through the superchargers, it knows what your charge rate is and what percentage you're going to arrive at. That would be that would move them up even higher as being known as a high quality charging provider.
Yep,
if it's just as seamless. Yeah.
What also happened this week, there was an update to our favorite initial Tesla pickup, or non-official Tesla pickup, which of course is the TRUCLA. Simone, who has her own channel, debuted the TRUCLA about 4 years ago now, where the video came out of her taking a red Model 3 standard range, I believe at that time it was the version, and they cut the back off, or part of the back, the two extra doors on the back, and they converted it into a pickup. And they had that pickup, they installed a bed in it, and they also installed a roof rack which overhang a little bit over the front. And they actually got invited to the CyberTruck event. They were in California and displayed the vehicle there, just on the outskirts. It wasn't an official Tesla thing, but they did get invited by Tesla to attend. So TRUCLA was at that event if you happen to be in California at that time as well.
They also promoted it at the last second. Like, it was going to be right up front near the Cybertruck, and then they said, you can park it around the corner. When they can see it on
we'll put it under a tarp. It'll be okay. So just this week, there was an update video to the TRUCLA, and there were some problems with the vehicle. It was put together in a rapid fashion, and they didn't really have a solution for the tailgate. In the original design, the tailgate was either on or it was off. There was no in between. So this updated video showed us the engineering that went involved, and they designed a pull-out and drop for the tailgate. So they've improved on that, and they've also improved on some weather ability, so it can now take some rain. Before, there was a lot of holes apparently, and when it rained, they would either rush it inside or they had something to cover it. So this is a plus for that vehicle. It still seemed, great in the video, and you can see the full video in the link description. We've got a link to the YouTube video, so you can check that out after our show today. But I like the TRUCLA. I thought it was a pretty cool looking vehicle, and although it's no Cybertruck, it probably would be a pretty useful run around town, pickup type vehicle.
Absolutely. Yeah, she suffers from the same thing that a lot of makers suffer from, and that's you get 80% done, and you have most of the functionality. The rest of the work is grunt work and doesn't get you that much more. So the next new shiny thing is far more interesting. So she admitted that right up front and said, "This is how I am, and I know it. And it's been 4 years, and I still haven't got this last bit done. I'm actually going to contract it out to some professionals to get all that refined work." So that was kind of like, oh yeah, I've been there. I know that feeling.
Especially when you got to make a new video every month, like she's got quite a schedule.
Absolutely. But good to see an update from her. So that was fun to see the updates on that vehicle. Next, just wanted to touch upon last week. Casey and I talked about the upcoming email that was sent to Tesla employees concerning the IRA tax credit. Tesla had indicated that it was coming up to the end of the month. They knew that the IRA rules were being changed, and they warned people that they may be retroactive on April the 1st, because that, of course, would have been the end of the first quarter. Well, they did. And
that's what they guided us at the government. So,
yep. But the tax office apparently gave a little bit more grace, and now the date is the 18th of April. So just for those of you who were interested and wanted to make sure that you got the full tax credit, because the battery packs for the Model 3, of course, are not made in the U.S. So it's going to eliminate that part of the
on the base model, yeah.
The IRA fund. So be aware. April 18th, if you want to get involved, you're still good if you can get the vehicle by then. Not order it by then. It has to be in your possession by then.
Order from inventory. Don't risk a custom build by any chance.
Exactly.
And if you order from inventory, order from an inventory within driving distance of where you are. Don't wait on them to transport it, because if the transport gets stuck, it's not going to happen. I've talked to a couple people online, at least 3, who were caught up in the last one, and they missed out on the program because the transport just wasn't going to be there in time. Like not one was hours, but most of them were like 2-3 days that were going to be late. And
right, that few days can
Tesla's a
cost you
machine.
$37.50. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yes.
Be safe, not sorry. Next,
you know what? You know what? The 18th is when taxes are due, isn't it?
yeah, I think it is.
That's why. Just
That
make
might be
everything
why they
end on the
picked
same
that
day.
Yep.
Because I was looking at the 15th, I'm like, that's a Saturday. They're not going to make your taxes due that day.
Nope. No, it's the Monday, right?
But I think it's a Tuesday, which is weird. I don't.
Oh, they
I
did
don't
the 19th?
understand.
No, 18th is a Tuesday.
Oh, the 18th is a Tuesday. Yeah.
So
Maybe
I
there's
don't know why they picked
something
the
going on that
18th
day.
for taxes or this, but I don't know. That's the date.
It's the dartboard. They just throw the dart, and it's going to be the 18th this year. Look at that. Next story, wanted to touch upon an update from Tesla, who sent a nice little video that Casey, I think, is going to take a look at and share with us.
Yes. Yes, Google Chrome can share the screen. I need a fingerprint. There you go. No, I don't want to quit and reopen. All right, so let's.
Maybe we have a video coming.
Maybe.
I don't even know what the topic is.
I'm sure everyone's seen it. It, of course, is about the Cybertruck.
Okay, because it's the same application. I was like, why? So it just needed the to restart if I wanted to share something outside the browser. So let's hit this. And I've already muted the music because Tesla's forever trying to get us knocked off the air.
Whoa!
Yes.
What a tease! Come on!
What did I say with my dad joke before the show?
Procrastination.
Yes, procrastination. CRASH in capital. All right, so then this kind of continues on because it's a loop. And then Matthew Dunnigan Ryan had this GIF as a response. The original, when it hits, same energy. But thankfully, Sandy Monroe and crew were there to analyze this joke, and
yeah, they got some useful information, didn't they?
They did.
Really?
Also, if you look here,
it doesn't actually hit. How can they?
Well, they didn't analyze the crash. They were looking at the suspension and the cradle.
Yeah, the undershot of the vehicle is what they were talking about. The front crumple zone and the X architecture of the suspension system.
Yeah. So right here, somebody pointed out that this might not be a joke. It might be like a preview. Like they had it ready, but they weren't ready to show us yet. So they just clipped all the stuff that was the juicy bits for April 1st. But the only difference between this and the regular Crash Lab is there's a large Tesla logo to the left of the text usually, and there are no markers along the side of the vehicle that they can use for reference points. But all the equipment appears to be there. That could be a valid number. It might not be. The dummies all wearing Tesla shirts is apparently a Tesla thing. Probably not the government one, but the Tesla lab, they are all wearing Tesla shirts typically. And so
I like the audience reaction cut away. Oh,
right. So this is what Monroe and crew were analyzing. Because everything here is color coded, and they said it should have, based on how far in these go, they said it should have incredible suspension travel, and they talked about the way this would be assembled compared to, like, say, a Rivian or the rest of the Tesla fleet. and that was a pretty nice. It wasn't a long one. It was like maybe 10 minutes.
Look
It was
at those crush cans up at the front of the bumper.
Yes.
In green.
For all the people who said this thing won't survive a crash test, it's going to maul everything. No, it's designed for safety, just like every other Tesla ever.
Yeah. Of all the criticisms I have heard of the Cybertruck, that one was the most ridiculous. That this thing is just going to be a solid tank and it's going to just kill anything it touches, and because it won't have any crumple zones. Like, of course, it's going to have crumple zones. It looks edgy and pointy, and it's just going to. It'll just pedestrians will see it and fall over dead. I mean, just come on. That was just so ridiculous.
My original speculation as to why they never showed the crash in the video was because it blew right through the cement wall and came out the other side unscathed.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Somebody else had suggested that when it hit, it blew out all the cameras, and that was all they could recover.
This was an April Fool's release, so that makes sense. I didn't catch the date before.
So that was a very cool piece of video.
Pattern.
But with all the color coding here, obviously Tesla's taking great pains to see what crushes, what performs, what's underperforming, what they expect, what they don't expect. Very cool shot from underneath the vehicle through the plexiglass.
But the drive axles are also colored. They're in burgundy. I didn't see that on Monroe's video.
Yeah, when I get my truck, if it's not painted like this, I'm gonna refuse delivery.
And then he will go to Lowe's and buy some spray paint, my friends. And Patrick will be underneath the truck for the first 4 hours of ownership.
I bet you somebody does do it. It may even be Patrick. You're gonna need like 8 different colors, though.
I won't be the only one. Yep.
I'm seeing that the hoses are color coded too. They don't look like that normally under the car. Nifty. So there's a lot in here, even though it looked like a 37-second joke. It was legit.
Yeah, I want to see it bust through the wall like Kool-Aid Man.
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah!
Oh no! Oh yeah!
Now, our next story, Casey, can you touch on this a little bit about the FSDBeta update, about it adding more customization and safety? Have you got the latest version?
No, I've got the previous latest version.
Okay.
So I've got 11.3.3 instead of 11.3.4 or 5. It seems that 0.5 is
5 out now.
Yeah, it seems that 5 is just for the folks who don't have ultrasonics on their car. And 4 is the exact same thing, but for people with ultrasonics.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem to have a huge amount of differences. So I can speak to what I've seen. Let's see right here. They got the new visualizations. Oh, no, this is very similar to what I've got. They got the new visualizations. If you have a legacy car like me, you don't get the voice drive notes, but they are there. Where if you have an interaction with the car, especially a disengagement, the car will ask you why you did that. And you just push the speech button and you say, I saw a sale on burgers. Or, whoa, did you not see that cow carcass in
the road? I just got it, and I've only done one drive with it. Yeah. And I did do a disengagement. I was in a right turn. I was going to make a right turn at an intersection, and I'm like the third car back, and it scooched over into the bike lane. And I'm like, why the hell would you do that? We're 3 cars back, and you're going to block the bike lane? So
mine was doing that near my house, too. It didn't do it anywhere else but near my house. It's like, we're going to use the bike lane as a turn lane. I'm like, no, you're not.
Right. And there are a lot of bikers in the Portland area. And that was just like, but the cool thing was you can give them feedback and you can say, you were blocking the bike lane. And interesting that you can't.
Because my car is legacy, even though it's newer than yours.
Right. But it's just recording voice, which your car can do.
Right. Which it already does for everything else. Like you got voice commands and button reports and like. Maybe if you can't leave voice memos, you give us another $150,000 for another car.
They just know it's your car and they're not going to do it. That's all there is.
We don't want to hear what we listen to Casey every Sunday. We don't need to listen to him.
He used to send us emails that were this long.
I did. Yeah, so I guess maybe they're gonna just continue to do what they used to do and just guess why I turned it off. Or somebody being able to give them feedback.
I say you shoot them a video and you send them the link in an email.
Yeah, but like they don't deserve my videos. You guys do. So I've got enough videos to finish, and I've been doing for you
That's
guys
true.
before I
That's
do
true.
Teslas. Another thing that I thought was really nice, and Patrick, you probably saw this too, at the top center of whatever screen you have, if you have one screen or two screens, the one that's closest to the driver, the top center in bold text, it tells you what it's thinking, what it's doing, stopping for stop sign, yielding for pedestrian, moving over to faster lane. It would sometimes do that in a little quick pop-up on older versions, but now it's prominent, it's bold, it tends to stay there long enough that you can see it. Your little blue line is now a big fat, like most of the lane is blue. It's got these little chevrons as it's slowing down. It says slowing for stop sign, slowing for stoplight. It's still a super late breaker. It's like, man, you know, you have all this regen, you're gonna wear out my pads.
Oh, that's funny.
It's more natural at doing its turns on the freeway, and it still does that thing where, hey, you've got a left turn up ahead in 0.3 miles. Let's get in the right turn lane, or vice versa.
Yes.
Yeah, it wants to make it a challenge cutting across 4 lanes of traffic to get off.
And it can do it, but do you want to risk it with other people on the road? No, you don't.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and then also, if you have a car that's got a distance stock and you adjust how far the follow distance is, you get a nice little pop-up menu that tells you if you want the car to be assertive, chill, or standard, or normal, I think they call it this year. And it also has the button for minimize lane changes. If you notice it's doing too much of this and you want to slow down, you minimize lane changes. I believe on the non-legacy cars, if you hit the right scroll wheel, it will bring up that interface, whichever one you used to use to set the follow distance on those cars.
So you're saying that Mad Max is gone?
You got assertive, which feels like what Mad Max was advertised as.
LA traffic mode.
Right, it's quite aggressive. Like if you've got a line of cars coming up for an exit, but just because it's traffic, your car may decide to just stay in the lane that's moving and then try to cut over at the last minute. I've seen videos where it worked, and I've seen my car try it. My car has never been aggressive enough at the end to make it work, but
the regulators have smacked Tesla's hands so many times. I think they just like, fine, we won't call it Mad Max mode.
Right. It's aggressive. It's assertive. I guess aggressive would be bad too if a cop pulled you over or something.
Yeah.
Driving.
Sorry, officer. My car was just being aggressive. Nothing I can do about it.
As long as you're not aggressive with the officer.
Yeah.
Well, right. Why'd you pull me over? No, don't do that.
I felt my fear for my life.
Be in chill mode all the time. Even if your car's in assertive mode, you should be in chill.
So we'll see as that gets updated. We'll certainly continue to report on the changes to FSDBeta with Patrick and Casey, of course, having it in their cars. Yes. One news story this week that Patrick's going to handle for us right now is, of course, the Q1 numbers. And how were they, Patrick?
They were awesome. So Q1.
I thought they said that Tesla missed.
That's right. Yeah, they're
and then deleted it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was a good. We wrote the story ahead of time. Here's what we want the headline to be. Just fill in the numbers when they come out and ship it. And so Q1 is traditionally the lowest quarter of the year for automakers. You'll often see Q4 the previous year higher than Q1. That was not the case. It was a record-breaking quarter for Tesla. They delivered 422,000 and they produced 440,000 vehicles in Q1 of this year. And those are their official numbers. And the really cool thing is, so we've talked about how Tesla is growing every quarter. They're shipping more than they did this year over year quarter before. And that means that as they're doing that, they're going to have made more cars in the last 2 weeks of that quarter than they did in the previous quarter. And so that means their days of inventory is going to slightly increase. And that's to be expected. And yet some of the other negative headlines were they produced more than they delivered. Well, that's going to happen. It's going to happen next quarter too. Why? Because they're ramping up. They have factories that are producing more than they were a year ago, which we'll talk about the great progress that Berlin and Austin have had. And so to see all the negative headlines coming out of this record-breaking quarter, I just thought was ridiculous. And it really, every time you see an article like that, you can just put that under, this person has an agenda and they're not to be listened to. They have no credibility in my book when you put out stuff that paints this awesome result. And I should, for disclosure, I'm a Tesla investor. I have been since July of 2010. So so I might be biased, but this was awesome.
Spring of 2013 here. The one thing I did that jumped out and screamed at me when I saw these figures come by is that when you look at both GM and Ford's numbers, like they were considerably lower for the year, and both of them said they want to be up above 600,000 cars by next year. And
EVs,
you've got,
right?
Yeah, EVs. Sorry, and then you've got just one factory for Tesla doing that every quarter, essentially. Yeah.
It's again, Tesla's just marching to their own drummer. At this point, Wall Street can do whatever they want because Tesla, of course, is on solid ground. They're making revenue big time. As Patrick mentioned, it just keeps growing every quarter because they keep pushing out more and more cars. So it's Wall Street can say what they want, but really Tesla is certainly in the driver's seat when it comes to numbers and revenue. So eventually Wall Street will have to reckon with it, and eventually the stock price most likely will continue to go on an upswing as more and more and more cars are sold and produced. So
did we mention they're no longer rated junk credit after all this time, now that they don't need credit anymore?
Yeah, like that. Isn't that amazing? Once you haven't needed credit for over 2 years, then all of a sudden you can get as much credit as you want. Really.
Right. But as a junk company, they were able to just buy these companies with perfect credit.
Yep.
Like new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's FUD. It's FUD at its best. Really.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this means they're on track for our predictions of if they did this same run rate, which they're obviously going to produce more each quarter. But doing this flat would be what? 16 plus another almost 200. So 1.8 million vehicles if it was flat, and our prediction is over 2 million. So we'll see. This looks like right on track for them to have a 2 million year.
Yeah.
Although that's not what they guided to. They guided to something more like 1.8.
Yeah, because Elon's always afraid of something going wrong. And he's
right,
so
exactly.
That's from experience, right?
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they look well on track to easily hit the 1.8 and hopefully do better than that.
Well, here's a couple stories that come right on the heels of that Q1 record.
Speaking of straight production,
exactly. Giga Texas now has hit 4,000 weekly run rate. So we talked just a week or so ago about Berlin hitting 5,000. Now Texas has hit that 4,000, and it's looking for 5. It's 5 is in its sights now, and
3 weeks
that's
before
great.
that, Berlin hit their 4,000. So
right,
maybe within 3 weeks, Austin will.
Could be.
This is
absolutely
awesome. Yep.
Even
I
if
was
it's
hoping
not.
Austin. Yeah.
Even
I was
if it's
hoping
not.
Austin would catch up, but they didn't. But Mark wins again.
Again. Berlin won again. But no, that's great. Once we get into those numbers, that's what 250,000 at a 5,000 run rate per year. So that's great. Like to see that. Of course, they're going to go well beyond that at both Berlin and Giga Texas. But it is a plus that they're starting to reach those rates. We also heard, of course, that Elon has said classically in the past that the CyberTruck would not be produced until the Model Y has hit its ideal run rate, which of course is 5,000. I don't think they're going to hold anything up for this. Is not because we know that there is work on the CyberTruck happening now. Yeah. We heard about Elon being on the factory floor and looking at the lines for CyberTruck. We know what's going on, but it's just good to see that that it is moving along and it's now at 4,000. The other piece of good news comes from Berlin, and this is interesting that they're looking to put on a 4th shift so they can begin to double current production that they have on the Model Y. So they're already at 250,000 vehicles per year run rate. And of course, the factory is approved to go up to 500,000. So this fourth shift now is now starting to push into that next tier, where they're going to want to double the 5,000 to 10,000 per week. So congratulations on that, as they start to push more milestones out of the way, as they continue to produce those Model Ys. Next on to, what do we got here? Yes, there has been, what would you call this? I guess this is a rumor. There's been an industry insider out of China that has talked a little bit about the ModelNext. And they didn't reveal much, but what this is basically telling us is that there's more banter about this smaller, lighter hatchback that Tesla has apparently already drafted up. They know what it's going to be, but of course they're not wanting to Osborne themselves before a factory is up and running and ready to start producing this car, which of course we have heard previously in the last few Tesla releases, which is going to be Mexico. They're going to produce this high volume vehicle in Mexico. This inside source has said that the volume that they'd be looking at is about 4 million vehicles per year. So that's a step up, certainly, from whatever Tesla has been producing now. But this hatchback is, well, if it comes out in a price range that they've been aiming at, is obviously going to be a large seller, and 4 million a year is certainly not out of the question for what vehicles could be sold, especially just here in North America. There's going to be a ton of people lining up for a vehicle at a price that's half the price of the Model 3 currently, or roughly half the price of the Model 3 currently. So this is, again, this is a rumor. It's just an insider talking about, they got some press time and reported about what they believe the ModelNext is going to be.
I agree with you on the lines, Mark. Remember when the Model 3 came out, and at all the Tesla stores, there were lines out the door, people getting there at 6 a.m. in the morning. It was like the old days Apple events, or a new phone. Yep. People were lining up, sleeping in line for it. And it was a fun party event. I went more like at noon, and so I only caught the end of it. But still, it made me just chatting with everybody in line and all the excitement made me like, wow, why wasn't I here 2 hours ago just to be here? Because it was awesome.
I got there two hours before the store opened, and I was number 300 in line.
Oh wow!
It was an event. It was an event all over North America. There were lineups at all the different Tesla stores, some more than others, but even here in the Toronto area, there was lineups out the door.
5 years and 5 days ago.
Yeah,
or 5 years and 4 days ago.
So it was April 1st.
I was surprised. I mean,
it was something that everyone was. A lot of people were anticipating. There was a lot of anticipation for this vehicle, and I'm not surprised.
We've never seen it. We all got in line and ordered this thing sight unseen because it was March 31st, and then April 1st we got to see it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I was already a Tesla owner, and I was excited for this car. Certainly wanted to order one on day one, but I just didn't know the little Tesla community had expanded so much. That was the shock to me.
Yeah,
and I hope it happens again.
Yeah, definitely. I will be ordering one if it comes, so I look forward to it as well.
Yeah, that little Chevy Spark that we have in our driveway would be much better as a ModelNext.
One thing we think we might know is that paint is expensive.
Yes, that of course was it Tom Zhu had indicated that when asked by an individual at the last event. So paint is expensive. So who knows? Could be the ModelNext is a little bit CyberTrucky. So that will be interesting to see what that design actually looks like. Another update here. We've got some V4 update from an untraditional source. We know that the first V4 went live in the Netherlands recently, and we know that that particular unit was strictly a CCS model because, of course, in Europe, that's what they have for all their plugs. But this little bit of information came from an application sent into British Columbia of a supercharger that was going to be installed in a BC city. And the city council got a hold of some of the particulars, and they outlined a little bit about the V4 charger that could go in place at this particular new city location. And they did indicate that the power or speed would max out at 350. So
let me guess. Is it out of Tim Hortons?
You know what? I didn't look, but really I don't have to, because here in Canada there's a Tim Hortons on every single corner. So it might be near 3 Tim Hortons, Patrick.
One on each corner.
But this particular information indicated a 350. It also talked about in the details that there would be a CCS charger magic dock installed in the side of the V4 charger, which is not a surprise at all. But again, the original one that's been installed in the Netherlands, it's still throttled back. It's only giving 250 speeds at this point. So it's still under test. But it was interesting to see that in this British Columbia permit or application that Tesla had indicated that the speed most likely would be 350 for a V4. So
probably like the minimum number of modules they can install on a V4 station.
Yeah, and that also is interesting that our V4 is planning to roll out, within the next year. Is that what Tesla's plan is? Because if this location is just under permit currently, the average build time here is different. It's all over the board, but it could be a matter of months or it could be a year. It really depends on what Tesla needs a location up and running, how quickly they do. But we haven't seen a new V4 even under construction yet in Europe. I'm assuming the next one would probably go to Europe just because, but I don't know. I don't know if where the next V4 will be, if they're going to start rolling them out in Europe. But I would assume that with the CyberTruck coming, I would think that around maybe Texas area would be getting a couple of V4s, just because that's the vehicle that's really going to benefit from 350 kilowatt charging is the CyberTruck, because it's going to rumor has it it's going to be a larger battery pack for sure.
Well, they could also take megawatt charging, but I'm wondering if 350 is just like the minimum number of boards they could put into the cabinet for a V4, and because with the V3s they're 250 per stall, which comes out to a megawatt for the whole cabinet.
Yeah,
and they talked about upgrading it like via software. They didn't say how much, and they've upgraded the other two. Version 1 and version 2 got a software update. He got a little bit more, and they don't really have anything they can take 350 today. So maybe plaids can go that high, but we haven't seen that because there were no chargers. And then we know that the truck can do megawatt, and at the moment the existing semis they only have 750 because that's all that Pepsi wanted at their mega chargers.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting to watch how this is being
and of course it could also be that Tesla knows that at this particular location we're not going above 350. That's it. Right. That's all there's going to be. Maybe the V4s will be capable in other locations going 500 or even higher. But at this particular place in British Columbia that they're applying for a permit for, they know that 350 will be the max, and that's what they've written in their documentation. So that could be part of it too.
I wonder if for the Magic Dock stations, they're putting a longer cable on those. If that means they're going to, on those particular ones, be a little lower.
Well, don't forget that the V4 has a longer cable that goes to a different part of the
it loops lower. So all V4s will have a longer cable. regardless.
not just the okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget that.
Actually,
idea.
the cables are about 10 feet, according to the Netherlands location, whereas the standard ones were 3 feet shorter than that.
That's all they needed because only Teslas could use them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. Oh, what's Derek telling us? Non-Tesla supercharger locations in California holding at 2, Scotts Valley and Placerville.
Yeah, they must be
Placerville.
testing them then. It's like watching to see what people do with them, seeing how the Tesla owners react, and
Yeah,
and then,
I haven't heard any more than the 11 that are on working now. No more information about anything going above the 9 in the New York State area, and of course 2 as mentioned by Derek in California.
and who was having troubles with it? Was it Kia products or Volkswagen products was having trouble with the Magic Dock? And not like broken damage, but like they just
slow charging
going up
speeds.
full speed. Exactly.
Yeah, I think VW was having an issue, and I think day one, a few of them were having an issue, but they corrected something because a lot of that complaining went away. So again, that's why they're out there, is to test them, to make sure that they're operating correctly, and to get some feedback from real vehicles.
Yeah, you don't want to put out 10,000 of them and find out, oh, we got to do hardware changes. Because
like the Starlink 2 satellites that you put up and say, oh yeah, they're not operating properly. They're gonna have to burn them up early. So you'd rather not do that too often. Just get the practice done and make sure the bugs are worked out of the system immediately.
Yeah, we saw this.
It's not at a minimum of $20,000 a pop.
12 and 13 with all the various even J1772 level 2 chargers that were out there. The Leaf had problems with some manufacturers but not others, and the Volt had some with some particular ones. Yeah, it was you can read a spec in a lot of different ways and sometimes they all think they're compliant. They go, oh, you read it this way, I read it that way. Now they need an addendum to clarify which one's right.
That's right. Yep, absolutely. Next, of course, we've talked about this twice now. Tesla voting has opened up for superchargers again. So the spring session is now open. If you own a Tesla, you can now go in to your login page, and you can actually vote on where you would like a supercharger placed. And you can even look at the popularity of the one that you're choosing and see what others are on top or on the bottom. And yes, Hockey Day, I will put in Sarnia, Ontario as my first pick. So we will eventually get that. Maybe Casey and Patrick will help us out too and put one of those in for Sarnia, Ontario. But there you go. Yeah, so we'll get Sarnia on the map eventually.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see Florida and California dominating the list. They're populous states, so they're going to have more votes. Yeah, I'll throw my vote to Canada.
Oh, Derek, yes, you can vote for Canada too. Go ahead.
I mean, hey, we can travel to Canada. It's not like we're voting for
That's right. Everyone wants to go to Sarnia. Come on.
Right. Of all the places that needs charging, it's not California. They got a lot of supercharging in California.
They could probably use more.
Yeah, who couldn't? But still, come on. Let's give somebody else a chance in this method here.
Let's fill in the blanks, fill in the gaps, and then we'll get the volume.
Infill,
yeah.
And if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up and a follow on this video. That'll help us out immensely. And through the week, you can follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter at The Tesla Life. You can follow us on Facebook, Tesla Life #1. And with that, you can keep up to all the news that happens in between shows. So we appreciate you doing so. And thanks very much for the support. Next, let's roll into some ending thoughts. Casey Green, what do you got going on this week that you want to inform everyone about?
Well, I've got Sunday show at 1:10 p.m. Eastern, and you find that at youtube.com @Casey Green, and we hope to see you there.
Very good. Very good. Patrick, any shout outs at the end of the show?
I got one more after that.
Casey's got one more.
So, had a chance to plug into my home charger again, and man, 17 kilowatts. It's like a supercharger trying to shake you loose. For those of you that aren't aware, I was on level 1 charging for a long time, and then I was on the mobile connector, and then now I'm back on superchargers only again. That's always fun.
Yeah. But the journey's almost over. You got a 17 kilowatt waiting for you, just less than a week away.
Yeah, while we were there doing our little pre-inspection, the car added more range than when we left the hotel with.
There you go. Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. Patrick, shout-outs from you.
Yes, I blog at carswithcords.net. You can see over there. And I've got one up there now about big batteries. And the cool thing about it is in this, I predicted how lithium prices were going to come down, not go up, as more people get into the market, exploring, mining, refining, and that the high prices that we had in last year are going to bring more investment. And then the cool thing is the prices have been coming down. So that was nice to see. And there's part 3 of that coming soon. So go check that out, carswithcords.net. And as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks.
Fantastic. And again, I'd like to thank you for watching the show. We want to thank Lee Moon for the music we use every week. And with that, we will roll end credit, and we'll get together next Wednesday, and together we'll find out what's happening in the Tesla life.
Yeah. We need a future free from fossil fuels.
Oh, he got it,
you, baby. We're going to electrify all the things.